What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And one of the most terrible things to witness is when someone fails, like the folks who made Civilization 7, and then they throw a little fit. And make no mistake, at this point, Civilization 7 appears to be a certifiable failure. I mean, just compare the numbers that we see on Steam between Civ 7 and its predecessor, Civilization 6. At its peak, the highest concurrent player count for Civ 7 is about 84,000. I gave them too much credit when I was discussing this game last week. I said that when they got their first full weekend under their belt after release, that I expected them to at least beat Dragon Age the Veilguard and get about 100,000. That still would have been way worse than the numbers on their last game, where they topped out at around 162,000. But suffice to say, Civ 7 appears to have a lot fewer players this time around.
Oh, shit.
Now, there's a combination of things that are potentially driving away players. The review scores for the game are pretty bad, with only about 51% giving them a positive review. Those are going to be your hardcore, die-hard Civilization fans who wouldn't badmouth the series no matter what. Everyone else is complaining about the horrible UI and the general state of the game being unfinished. That's definitely driving people away. Word of mouth is powerful, but other people dislike how the game is apparently woke, and they're saying piss off to this game.
Just give me a chance! Just give me a chance!
No thanks, bro.
And here's where shit gets really embarrassing for Civilization 7. It looks like the moderators for the game have started banning people for complaining about Harriet Tubman being usable as a leader, because naturally, that is what these cowards do. That's practically the whole point of using characters like this, because if you criticize them, then they can just call you a racist or a sexist or whatever. These characters make wonderful human shields, but there are some valid criticisms about what they've done with Civilization 7 and the leaders in the game, and calling Civ 7 woke is not a stretch. It's certainly not the worst offender ever, but there's certainly a case to be made, and these community managers implementing the bans are only lashing out because deep down they know the truth, that Civ 7 is a dog shit game that deserves the criticism that it's getting.
You suck! Goodbye.
Alright me hearties, make sure you smash the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We've just crossed another subscriber milestone, so it is time to ask the obligatory question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
We've just passed 121,000 space pirate a-holes in our Buccaneer crew, and as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subscribers, we add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, one of you guys recommended the Roger Young from Starship Troopers, which you can see flying around up here. But if you have any suggestions for future ships, drop them into the comment section and I will add them to my long list. Super chats get bumped to the top of the list with the other super chats, and also, for your reference, I've added an alphabetical list of the ships already in the fleet to the description of this video. But in any case, I appreciate everyone being here, and I will do my best to continue to earn your viewership.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
But alright, let's talk about Civilization 7 and how the game definitely sounds like there were some pretty woke elements in it. Now, just to be clear, I suspect that the primary reason the game is floundering so badly at this point is because it is getting reviewed so poorly by the die-hard Civilization fans. The main complaints that the UI is bad and that the game is unfinished, those are pretty damning complaints. Other than Harriet Tubman being added to the game as a leader, which is a whole lot of pandering, there hasn't really been a consensus as to why the game is potentially woke, but there are definitely some things which make me say, hell no. First of all, apparently when you load in as America in this game, they give a little lecture on how the westward expansion was them taking away indigenous people's lands. So that's insufferable as hell. But this person here, who posted this on X, does a nice job of articulating the biggest problems with the game from the perspective of woke being in it. This person wrote, "The primary issue with Civ 7 is that it's being used to destroy the concept of the nation state. Sure, having Harriet Tubman as the American leader and the focus on historically irrelevant leaders to promote lesser-known stories is woke, and the map generation is awful, but people would have lived with that. The real issue is that in all previous Civ games, you pick a civilization such as the Romans, the British, or the Incans, and you play as them throughout the ages. You play as a nation. You pick one you have an affinity for, and you LARP as them. Civ 7 has changed this fundamental aspect of the game in that now there are 3 ages. You may play as Rome in the first age, but come the second age, you are forced to choose a new leader from a new Civ. The Mongols, for example. Now you are no longer playing as Rome. You are playing as a multicultural Roman-Mongolian post-national state. Come the third age, you choose again, say Prussia. Now you have a Prussian leader ruling over your Roman-Mongolian Prussian multicultural post-national state. Humankind, a failed Civ-like game, tried this gimmick first and flopped. Civ has adopted it because it enforces neoliberal, multicultural values while removing any sense of nationalism from a game previously built around the nation. There is no other way to play Civ 7. This is why I, and many others, will not buy or play Civ 7. And yes, this gimmick seems pretty damned propagandistic. It seems like they're trying to push this whole melting pot concept into history, which simply isn't historically accurate and takes you out of the LARPing experience. I'm a big fan of Age of Empires 2. I have played that game off and on for literal decades now. I'm not really good at it, but I like playing, and I can tell you right now that it would completely take me out of the experience if, whenever I entered a new age, I had to select a different empire to play as. So, there are definitely some legitimate criticisms of the game from a culture war perspective, no doubt about it, but the mods, they ain't having it. As you can see in this post here, it looks as though the moderators for Civilization 7 are banning people for speaking about the Harriet Tubman inclusion. It seems like they're being pretty thin-skinned. This is basically them throwing a fit because they don't want to be called out for their pandering BS. But I gotta say that I think Civ 7 is simply lucky that the anti-woke movement got to this game pretty late. A lot of the elements that make it objectionable from a culture war perspective are a bit in the weeds, so to speak. They're a bit tough to explain in just a sentence or two, as you can tell from this post here that I read. So, rather than let people start discussions on this topic, it seems that the community managers for Civ 7 are ripping this sort of conversation out root and stem, because with as bad as their player numbers are already, the last thing they can afford is more controversy being stirred up. But I don't think that this sort of behavior will save them in the slightest, because the negative reviews are insurmountable. In the week leading up to the game's release, parent company Take-Two released their financial report where they discussed the pre-orders for the game, saying that it was record-breaking for the franchise, and they said that player sentiment was extremely positive. So that tells you everything you need to know about how these big corporations are either lying through their teeth or they're just plain old disconnected from reality. Either way, the game is underperforming, and I think it's hilarious to see, especially with all of these woke elements that we're learning about. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery for Civilization 7 into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.